He would say, "What if you don't put on that suit tonight? What if you gathered all those sketches and started building something that could last? You have a design for Gotham City, Master Bruce. Isn't it time the world saw it?" Today on the Comic Book Report, Batman, Their Dark Designs. Stick around and check it out. Greetings from the Batcave. My name is Dominic and you're watching The Comic Book Report, where I review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. Today we're looking at Batman, Their Dark Designs. But first, here are some quick facts. Batman, Their Dark Designs was written primarily by James Tynion IV and illustrated primarily by Guillaume March and Tony S. Daniel. The issues in this collection were first published by DC Comics in 2020. The volume collects Batman issues 86 through 94 and Batman Secret Files number 3. The hardcover is a standard size and comes in at 264 pages. At this time, I'd like to issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through this collection and commenting on plot points. You've been advised. Alright, and here's our first look at the collection itself. As I've mentioned a few times, this is Batman, Their Dark Designs by James Tynion. This is a volume 1. This takes place directly after Tom King's Rebirth run on the title, and this kicks off a brand new run for the Caped Crusader. A couple notes about the volume itself. This is a standard size hardcover edition with matte pages. Overall, the presentation of these issues is pretty good. I was disappointed we didn't get an oversized hardcover like the deluxe Rebirth editions. Additionally, I have noticed with these standard hardcover volumes of the Batman run here, you do get a little bit of gutter loss, so just take a look as I flip through. It's not terrible. I definitely noticed it a little bit more with the Joker War Saga hardcover I got that takes place after this, but it's still something worth noting. And frankly, I'm just excited to have this in my collection. I mean, take a look at this Under the Dust Jacket art. Just stunning. As I go ahead and put this back together here, we'll get started on the book itself in a second. Something else I would like to note, I noticed on Amazon, on the websites, and the back cover, and even inside cover, it notes that this collects issue 85. However, I believe it really starts on issue 86, so I don't know if that's a typo. Issue 85 is the end of Tom King's run, and this one definitely starts on issue 86. So that's something to note for those of you who might want to collect this. I do not believe it includes issue 85. As we dive into the collection, without spoiling too much about the end of Tom King's run, suffice it to say, Batman is pretty rattled, and ultimately a lot more alone than he's been in a long time. We see him communicate with Catwoman and Lucius Fox, but there's not a ton of Bat family present in this volume. And before I even cover plot points, I just have to say the art is absolutely jaw-dropping throughout. March and Daniel's work are just top-notch. I really think their character models are just super loyal and fully realized. We get some incredible amount of just details. I love seeing a lot of his rogues gallery depicted throughout this collection. There's even, there's flashback sequences throughout that we get to see some of the villains in kind of vintage costumes, and it's just fantastic. For a long-time Batman fan, I gotta say, I really love what these guys bring to the table for this volume. The art itself is just such a standout. And you pair that with James Tynion's writing, and wow, this was a great start to a new Batman run. I've really enjoyed what I've read by Tynion over the years. I read his series The Woods, which I enjoyed. Then I've really been loving Something is Killing the Children. I've read a lot of his Detective Comics run. He's just a phenomenal writer, and I've really enjoyed a lot of what he's written that I have read. So I was unbelievably eager and excited when I heard he was taking over for Tom King, even though I really did enjoy King's run from what I've read as well. But this volume feels like a volume 1. It feels so refreshed and full of life and has a lot to say. A majority of this volume deals with a team of assassins, some of the world's deadliest hired killers, who are all in Gotham for some reason, where Batman's trying to take them down and figure out the larger conspiracy of what's going on. Seeing that play out and kind of finding out who's pulling the strings behind this team of assassins and some of the larger plots to unravel Gotham really make this book such a standout. I think about midway-ish through this book, you kind of find out that there's this elusive character known as the Designer, like one of the world's most brilliant mastermind villains who, behind the scenes, orchestrated this perfect plan to take down Gotham. We see in a sequence of flashbacks that he met up with some of the rogues like Catwoman and Joker and Penguin and the Riddler. And seeing the interplay of what happened in the past and what's coming for them in the present, it's just a really fantastic narrative that's really framed absolutely great. I also think that Tynion presents a really great character study on some of those villains I mentioned, Penguin and Riddler and Catwoman and Joker. I think particularly Catwoman and Joker, Tynion did things in this run here that I was just floored by. I loved seeing some of the reaction. I loved seeing how the history came back to the present, and it's just so hard to describe without reading it yourself. I'm kind of treading a little lighter on some of the end spoilers where I can. Suffice it to say, this is worth a pickup. This is worth a read. And I will say that this is an excellent prelude setting up Tynion's next story arc with this title, which is the Joker War. Now, I've read Joker War and the follow-up Ghost Stories as his Batman run has continued on. I've enjoyed both of those stories, but I'm not sure that either of them hit the pinnacle that I saw in this first volume, which was Their Dark Designs. I think that we get some just really high tension moments with a lot of conflict that I just loved. There was enough of like kind of murder mystery intrigue going on, conspiracy, that just kept me glued to these pages. I also enjoy that this, again, feels like a fresh Volume 1, great place to jump on with the book. While also serving as a really sufficient epilogue to King's Run, you get to see some of the fallout of what happened in the finale of King's Run. You get to see that play out and how that has repercussions in the current Batman mythos. I know this book has been out for a while. They've made trade paperbacks. You can get it on digital and things like that. I actually sought out this Volume 1 hardcover when it started to go out of print a bit, and really happy I found it. I think I paid cover price for it. Maybe a little less, but I'm so happy I sought it out. Even though it's standard size, it's still nice to have a hardcover. Now we're making our way through the end of this collection. I know there's going to be a cover art gallery and some bonuses at the end here, but I want to take a moment to say that this is the strongest relaunch of Batman I've seen since Snyder's back with the Court of Owls. And frankly, there's just so much here to recommend. What a thrill ride. A fantastic story with gorgeous art. It's hard to want more out of a Batman story. If you haven't picked up Batman, Their Dark Designs, do it. It's fantastic. And even look at all these covers. Just gorgeous. I love seeing that in collections like this. But like I said, Their Dark Designs was such a treat. It kept me on the edge of my proverbial seat, and it left me eager for Joker War. Now let's give it a grade. With its beautiful and consistent art quality, paired with a truly fun conspiracy thriller plot, some notable character interactions, and the introduction of several more characters, The Comic Book Report is going to have to give James Tynion's premier Batman collection, Their Dark Designs, an A-. The storytelling was absolutely gripping, and I could not put this down. There's still some great Catwoman Batman dynamic without it overshadowing the rest of the storytelling. And frankly, this had me excited to read Batman again. And while it serves as a perfect setup for the Joker War, the subsequent volume, it's such a great standalone treat. Do not miss out on Batman, Their Dark Designs. Have you read this collection? Or the rest of Tynion's run? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And with that, that'll do it today for the Comic Book Report. Thank you so much for stopping by. Give me a like, a comment, a subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good one.